here.
Yeah. Hello and welcome back to Build Promotion Lab at Devoxx France 2024, live from Paris. And I have two guests with me, Guillaume and Agnes. Welcome.
Thank you.
You know what? I asked what we're going to talk about, and you mentioned minerals for the digital industry. I'm excited. I have no idea what are we talking about. I also understand that you wrote books about it, and kind of I have the guru here with me.
He wrote
The book.
Not me.
Okay, tell me a little bit about yourself, about the background, about what we're going to talk about, and why.
Okay, I'm starting.
Here you go.
I'm Guillaume Pitron. I'm a journalist. I am a Paris-based French journalist. I'm a documentary maker. I'm a researcher. I'm the co-founder of a consultancy of a mineral intelligence company, Psyche 16. And I've been working for 15 years on the subject of critical minerals for the energy transition, but also for the digital technologies. And we get to the point where actually there's nothing immaterial. There is nothing virtual. Everything is very much material. The cloud comes from a scar in the ground.
In the end of the day, it's all physics and chemistry, and that's very, very much minerals, right? So yeah, you mentioned
Agnes maybe wants to introduce herself.
Agnes,
Thank you, Guillaume.
please go ahead. I'm so excited about the topic. It's like wow.
But he will speak about his book just after. So I'm Agnes Crepet. I'm French also, as you guessed, with my beautiful accent.
It is beautiful.
And I've been working at a company called Fairphone. And Fairphone is a Dutch company, actually, in Amsterdam. And the goal of Fairphone is to build a long-lasting phone, long-lasting devices. Why? Because in the end, right, we all know that the digital technologies have huge impacts on the planet and on the people. It's all right. The people aspect, we speak less about that, but that's also a topic. And we think at Fairphone that the one of the good paths that we can take is to build long-lasting devices. Because if you can have your phone for 10 years, for example, it means that less phones will be produced. So that's a path that we should explore. And in a conference here like Devoxx, that's super interesting because people are mostly focused on innovation, new frameworks, new technologies, and we should be perhaps more focused on maintenance.
Okay, so expect to be here for an hour. I have so many questions. This is fascinating about both of those topics, and I don't know where to start. You know what, Agnes, I'll start with you. It's just something that is really blows my mind. How should I say, business-wise, financially speaking, what you said doesn't make any sense. You want to sell more phones, not less.
In the capitalistic world, yes, right? But this is why also the governance of the companies are quite interesting. So Fairphone is a social enterprise. In France, we call that SCOP, right? Cooperative companies. And of course, right, you have to have KPI, not only focus on the financial rentability. You need to have KPI focus on impact, right? But it's still doable to have a business like Fairphone that can be, okay and going well, right? As long as you are okay with the slow growth, because doing phones, that's not software only, right? So you need to be careful about what you ship on the field. But it's doable. And we want to show also to the industry that it's doable to do long-lasting phones and to be still here after 10 years, because we celebrated our 10 years anniversary 1 year ago. And after 10 years, we're still here. So that's possible.
Yep, and this goes directly into Guillaume's topic, right? With the rare minerals that you mentioned. I guess they're called rare because they are rare, so they're kind of running out. And the more phones we produce, the less rare minerals we have.
Actually, the rare earths are not rare, and this is not about earth.
Oh, it's all marketing bullshit. I knew it that the term rare in the title, it's marketing bullshit. I knew it. So they're not rare.
But you have to know that this rare earth phrase was being invented 2 centuries ago by a Scandinavian, probably a Swedish geologist, who found some of the rare earths, because there are 17 of them, in specific types of argile types of earth, which were rare where they found them. So they called them rare, and they mentioned the earth out of which you extract the minerals. So maybe it was bullshit marketing from the capitalistic world back 2 centuries ago, or maybe it was just simple geologist stuff, which was just trying to explain what kind of what kind of minerals they were facing.
So I guess now it's used in marketing like all over, highlighting that they're rare to drive the
I don't think
prices up.
so. I think it's just because they've been called rare for a while, but actually there are explanations about what is rare and what is not. Listen, it's much. Iron is abundant, right?
Yes.
It's 5% of the Earth's crust.
Of course.
But if you want to get a rare earth out of an iron mine, because it's a byproduct of the iron, you have on average 1,000 less times rare earths than iron. So let's suppose that we are at the Palais des Congrès here in Porte Maillot in Paris. Let's suppose that you know that there is a rare earth mine just beneath the parking.
Yep.
Are you going to destroy everything around you just to extract a few grams of this rare earth? So the question is, at what cost are you ready to extract a mineral which is very much diluted in the Earth's crust and which will end up in your smartphone, by the way? So it's not the question of how rare it is from a strict geological standpoint. The question is how much effort, how much electricity, how much impact on the environment, how much money, how much risk at your reputation are you going to put at stake in order to extract these resources? Actually, you know what? You're not going to do it. And that becomes rare. This is where it gets rare.
It makes sense, and it's also like how easy it is to extract it, contributes to the value basically, and this is what might make it rare or not. Even it's in abundance, you just cannot get it, so it's kind of rare.
It's as rare as your willingness to pay the cost for it.
That makes sense.
And the cost will be higher and higher in the future.
This is something that I wanted to ask you about. Is it because it will remain less of it, or because whatever is easy to get will be extracted and then we'll have a lot of it but harder to get?
Today we face a stronger set of regulations asking mining companies, but also down the chain value companies, which are using at the end of the process these resources into a finished product, to be more careful about how these resources are being produced.
Oh, here you go.
And basically, you have to make sure that it's environmental. There are environmental concerns around it, social concerns, governance concerns. You have to make sure that all these regulations, requirements around what we would call an ethical way of extracting the resources, it has to be respected. If you don't respect that as a US or a Western country, you can have reputational risks. You can have sanctions from the administration. You can have a judiciary process. You can be tried on court. So basically, the question is not whether we might be lacking resources, because from a strict geological standpoint, they are everywhere, even in the depth of the oceans. The question is, how will you get in the future ethical metals? The metals that makes you respectful into the framework of all these growing regulations that you have to respect. And this is where it's going to get hard. And this is where companies will have to strive for certain resources, because all the companies will want to have this ethical metal. And this is where it will become a business, because companies will have to make sure that they can get these resources as a premium before everyone else.
And this goes directly into exactly to your business, Agnes, because I guess the more we produce, the more we run into the problem of the rare earth materials really get rare and expensive to extract and have those risks of both reputation and financial and jurisdiction and everything else. So making less of stuff that use those minerals probably has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. If you look at an LCA, a life cycle assessment, right? Of course, production, extraction, that's more or less the main steps that are impactful regarding the environment. So this is why if you can keep your fund longer, that's better. So as long as the manufacturer is able to do that. So that's one thing that we do. My job as Fairphone is really to hack the software obsolescence. But we don't do only that, right? What we try to do also is to work on the supply chain. We want to create demand for ethical minerals, for fair materials. We want to show to the industry that it's possible. It's a long way. It's a really a long journey, but it's doable. We started as an awareness campaign around conflict minerals in 2010. And 15, 14 years after, we are almost not at the half of the materials, because right now we are focused on 23 materials, and in a fund you have 50 materials. And why it is so long? Because this is so complex to understand how the cobalt is produced, and where are the refiners, and blah blah blah, etc. Where are the transformers? So that's super complex. It takes time. But one thing that we want to also push at Fairphone is to show that the due diligence is good, right? It's good to have directives which can push the manufacturers to be more focused on the supply chain, on the transparency of the supply chain. But you need also to fix the issues. So you need, as a manufacturer, to be also involved into some concrete project, tangible project, to solve the issues. If I speak about the DRC, the Congo, Kinshasa, in DRC you have 70% of the cobalt, which is produced, right? And if you are just at this level of, okay, I check if I have minerals from the Congo, and in case I have minerals from the Congo, I will ban it, it won't solve the issue, right? In our keynote this morning, I was speaking about the Dodd-Frank Act, a law, a US law that passed 15 years ago. And this law was about, was pushing US companies to analyze if they have conflict minerals, gold, tantal, tin, and tungsten. And then the immediate effect of this law was to ban those minerals from the DRC. And then a lot of people, the miners, came back to the smuggling activities.
Yeah, in the end of the day,
that's an issue, right?
It's if 70% of this mineral is there, you eventually will somehow get it from there directly or indirectly, just because
and this is why you need to go there. You need to have activities there to work with the people, to work with the miners, to solve the issues. That's the thing.
To solve the problem and not just ignore
and not
it.
assume that you know the problem, but work with them.
No, that makes sense. Now, I wanted to ask you something about your having your phone 10 years. It's obviously there is all the consumerism, and I want the next
marketing obsolescence.
Absolutely right. The last shiny toy because it's so shiny and what's not. But there are also a legitimate advancements in technology that I would like to benefit. In the end of the day, just pure from technological standpoint, the phone that I can buy today, compared to the phone that I could buy 10 years ago, what I have today is much better. And it can be computational resources. My phone is faster, it lasts longer, it has a better camera. I want those things. It's not necessarily that I'm a naive victim of marketing campaigns and I just want the one that has the highest number in the version. There are real benefits of having better technology, which is only available today and wasn't available 10 years ago.
I do agree with you. I mean, obviously, you want to have the latest camera, which will make the best pictures. Personally, I have an iPhone 7. So that means that it was probably offered to the market like 7 or 8 years ago. I'm fine with this. It all depends about how you want to use it. Right. I mean, what kind of use you want to make out of it. If I wanted to have like 30, 40, 50 apps with lots of downloading capacity for every single app, I have a 30 gigabyte download capacity on my phone. So obviously, I wouldn't be able to keep such phone. No, to be honest, all of my pictures, I just take them out of my phone, I put them on a hard driver, an external one, and my iPhone 7 is way enough for what I need. So, but once again, it's really personal. If you can't make without it, obviously yes. I think it's good to question: do I really need it? I mean, personally, I realize that I don't, and especially if I keep a phone which is rather simple, that will keep me away from this freaking phone. because honestly, I just can't do without it. I've just become addicted to it, and I'm trying to get away from it by having a very simple phone, so that actually I don't have to go all over again to that phone. But
If
once
it
again, it's very.
annoys you enough, you will keep away from it.
That's what I try.
No, this is smart. I love it. Yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, I get it. If we will take the marketing component away, we might not make everybody fine with the 10 years old phone, but some of the people will definitely have less drive to get the latest one every year.
And potentially a large majority. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, maturity, right? That's I had this word in my mind when Guillaume was talking, and that's exactly that. It is about maturity. It's about realizing that, you know what, maybe I don't need it, and if we have less push from the environment around us that you need the latest one. Maybe this is where you can think about it and decide that you don't.
Also, right? Coming back on the conclusion of the keynote that we have done, right? We can be also creative, innovative on the way that we keep values along the years, right? So imagine a phone that you can upgrade after a few years. For Fairphone 2 and 3, this is what we have done. After 1-2 years, we roll out a new camera module with new performance, those kind of thing, right? And you can do, I mean, it's just, we are just Fairphone, but imagine all the manufacturers could think about those kind of upgradability topic. Would be awesome. Right, so there is a path of doing innovation, R&D, around how we can keep values.
So here is my question for you. I think that in some point we actually moved away from those upgradable devices to non-upgradable devices. I remember the time when you can...
on the laptop, you mean?
Not only, but phones as well. You remember you could replace a battery on your phone. You opened the bag and you replaced the battery.
Yeah, but that's a shame that you
cannot plug more storage into it with an SD card when you need it. You
but
cannot
this is
do it
what
anymore.
we should do again.
Right?
This is what we do at Fairphone. We have a modular phone, so you can easily replace the battery, right? Like you Nokia.
Exactly. Yeah.
3310.
Exactly.
So that's the point, and that's a shame that we cannot do that anymore. Hopefully, with some directive at the European level, it will be banned again, right? To not have those kind of removable battery. But this is what we should do, right? Because I really think that we are locked in a system, an ecosystem, because of some manufacturers where, okay, we know that it's not reparable, but it should be reparable. Why? Why it should not be?
Yep. And I guess that the excuse, and I don't know if it's like a fair excuse or not, is the miniaturization, right? The idea that you squeeze everything so tight inside that you cannot replace anything, because obviously unpluggable connectors take more space. That pluggable connectors take more space than not pluggable ones, right? And if you want a phone that will be 2 millimeters thinner than its predecessor, you don't have this option, honestly.
It's difficult to have a super thin phone if it's modular, sure.
Exactly, yeah.
But I mean, that's the point, right? Why do we need to have a thin phone, right? It's okay if you have 1 millimeter extra.
Yeah.
That's the point. As long as it is reparable.
Yeah, and we come back to the competition to be able to market it as the thinnest phone on the market or something like that. Yeah. No, it's fascinating, and this is very interesting topic, and obviously chapeau to Devoxx France, which on the surface has very little to do with minerals and ethical consumerism and all this kind of stuff, for bringing you to do a keynote about it. I think it's important for all of us, and thank you very much for coming here as well and sharing it a little bit in English with our audience.
No, pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So and so there's that, and you can see it's not only about Java, it's not only about software. We have some very interesting topics here. We will continue to do that in our future episodes of Build Proportion Lab at Devoxx France 2024. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.